What is up, members of my collector corps? It is I, Super MarioZilla, or you could call me Vinny, and today we will be taking a look at the S.H.MonsterArts Mechagodzilla 1993 and Garuda and Fire Rodan Makuhari Decisive Battle Version set. This set was revealed in celebration for the 30th anniversary of Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2, 1993, revealing a Fire Rodan repaint which has been demanded for quite a while, and a new Mechagodzilla 1993 with a Garuda, introducing what is unfortunately round 3 of repaints. Heisei repaints to be exact. I am tired of this era. It's not even funny how tired I am of it. So folks were not exactly pleased they shoehorned a new Mechagodzilla with Rodan because collectors only wanted Rodan, and now it's forced into a set. An expensive set. This set clocks in at an MSRP of $230. That is a lot of money indeed. That costs just as much as the original release of Biolante. Folks were especially not happy with that price since, remember, most collectors only wanted Rodan. Well, ignoring the fact that it's another repaint of Mechagodzilla 93 in the set, is this set worth getting at all for the collection, especially if you happen to own any of the Mechagodzilla 93 releases? Sit back and relax, get a snack, get a drink too, preferably water, and let's see if this set is worthy of a spot on your Heisei Godzilla shelf. So here's how it goes. I look at one figure first, then the next figure, and both of them share a size comparison, okay? Okay. Now, how exactly does this version of Mechagodzilla differ from the previous releases? Well, it's the most shiny out of all of them, and has a bluish tint replicating the diamond-coated armor, and it actually looks really nice. I'm serious, this looks like how he appeared in some of the nighttime shots in the movie, and it looks great. I'm not sure if it's 100% accurate to the source material, but either way, it's a very nice looking figure. The eyes are also way brighter on this release than the previous Mechagodzilla 93 figures. I believe that is also more accurate to have brighter eyes. It looks nice. The metallic black within the joints also really helps contrast with the armor on the figure, and overall just makes him pop on the shelf. And just in case anyone was wondering, yes, the inside of the mouth does have details like where the Mega Buster comes from. That's always good. Although it may look like he's mostly a smooth surface, he does sport a lot of detail in places that make him resemble the suit. Bandai has always nailed robot figures in terms of looks, and this is no different. Overall, I'm very pleased with how Mechagodzilla turned out, and I think he looks rock solid. Mechagodzilla's articulation is pretty much the exact same as Super Mechagodzilla's articulation and even the original Mechagodzilla's articulation, with one or two exceptions. No real improvements has been made, which is a little bit disappointing, considering this is the, the third time that this has been released. Either way, let's see what we got. Head can rotate, basic swivel, and can extend upward, can look all the way up for flight mode purposes, and the tail can stretch all the way down to, again, get them in flight mode. So, pretty cool piece of engineering. I'm glad to see that came back, and I'm glad the tail has a little bit of articulation as well. It cannot do a lot of other movement besides up and down, so don't even try to rotate it the other way. Yeah, there's no ball joint in the neck if you were hoping for that. Mouth is on a hinge, can open about this far, which is okay. It's supposed to be that way. Arms are on ball joints. Can hinge upward, not very far at all. And there's no bicep swivel. Not even in the elbow, there isn't a swivel. That's potentially a problem. And there's a bit of butterfly joint movement. Elbows are on a double hinge. Can move just about 90 degrees, which is fine. There's a ball joint here and here, so he can crunch forward. Not very far at all. Backward. Again, not very far, unless you want him to stand up straight. So, yeah. Oh, hands are also on a swivel hinge. Legs. The original Mechagodzilla figure used to have a pull-down hinge, like Figure Arts. This one does not. So he can kick forward just about this far, and he can kick backward just about this far, and splits, he cannot really... Actually, he can still move them pretty far. It's just not the splits. So be mindful of that. There's a little bit of a thigh swivel. Just a little bit. Knees are on a bend. Before, they also used to pull down on the original Mechagodzilla 93, but here they do not. This is all the bend that he can get. There is ball joints in the ankles, and a bit of a hinge in the ankles as well. So, a bit of an ankle rocker, just not a lot. And toes are on a hinge. Mechagodzilla's articulation is fine. You're just not going to be able to pose him as much as you would hope, considering this is an older mold that has yet to get really updated besides the head, neck, and the tail. The legs I could forgive, the elbows I could forgive. I just wish there was a bit of movement in the lower neck area. It looks like something could have been worked in there. Maybe not, who knows. So, the real improvement I would have had is in the shoulders. The shoulders can be a problem. And the lack of bicep swivel can also be a problem. So, yeah. Lack of updates is, yeah, not exactly a good look on what's almost a 15-year-old mold. And, yeah, again, no updated articulation on this figure besides the neck and the tail, which is the same as Super Mechagodzilla, which released like almost 5-6 years ago, give or take. So, yeah, that's a little bit disappointing. Mechagodzilla doesn't have the most accessories, but he still comes with everything he would need. No beam, sadly, but when you think about it, the Mega Buster was a one-and-done deal from the original release. But what about the I-beam? Yeah, oops. Should have thought about that, huh, Bandai? Whatever, let's just see what we got. First is the G-Crusher. Why are they ridiculously long? The original versions of these are not this long. Not even close. Because of that, they get dragged down by their own weight and it doesn't look good at all. They end up drooping and it's hard to fit Godzilla in the display because of how long they are. Like, what the heck happened? Whose idea was this? Yeah, they are bendy wire and you can make them look decent if you bend it in the right way, but it doesn't look 100% appealing. Should have made these a lot shorter. They fit into these pockets in Mechagodzilla's forearms, so there you go in case you're using them. Just good luck getting this to look good on a DTOF shelf or something, or toy photography. For hands, he has the alternate pair of hands for flight mode. Interchanging the hands is easy, not hard to do. Getting him into flight mode is also easy. Just look at the video and follow what I'm doing. Bend the tail down, make the head look up, the arms straight, and move the legs back and bend the knees a little bit, and here you go. Flight mode. Next up is an alternate stomach piece for the plasma grenade launcher. No beam for this either, sadly, which sucks. To interchange these stomach pieces, it's easy. You just have to be careful not to break anything. Pop off the top half of Mechagodzilla, then switch to stomach pieces. Once switched, pop Mechagodzilla's top half back on his legs. It gets tricky popping him off, and the ball joint is a little small, so it's scary changing because you're afraid you might break it. Next up is a battle-damaged eye, replicating when Rodan pecked him in the movie. It looks pretty cool. I like this. It's a bit unorthodox changing the pieces. Slide off the mohawk piece, then pop the eye piece off and replace it with a battle-damaged version. Then slide the mohawk piece back on, and there you go. Now he looks like he got pecked in the eye. Next is an accessory back piece for the Garuda. Switching the pieces is easy, like really easy, just pop off and replace it with the new one. Now that the back piece is on, what about the Garuda? Here it is. The Garuda battleship looks great. The metal matches the color of Mechagodzilla, so that's no problem. All the little nooks and crannies you can expect in the ship are here and accounted for, and it looks great. The Garuda makes a nice inclusion in the set. You can display the ship like this with a Tamashii stage. The set comes with a Tamashii Act 4 stage for the Garuda. So there you go, the Garuda is flying. No beams once again for it sadly, which really sucks. Oh well. To get the Garuda on Mechagodzilla is easy. Slide the shuttle upward, then remove these two pieces on the bottom and replace them with the squished ones so it can fit on the back of Mechagodzilla. Make sure you take off the panel with the Tamashii stage peg hole, revealing 4 peg holes for the back of Mechagodzilla, and pop it on his back, and there you go. Mechagodzilla has now transformed into Super Mechagodzilla. I've always been a fan of Super Mechagodzilla, so even 3 figures later, this is still really cool for me. And you have your options with displays. Either display them separate or together like this. Plenty of choices and fun factor. Now we move on to Fire Rodan. How does he fare? So Rodan has one major change over his original figure. The whole figure is translucent. You can see it mostly through the head when the light shines through him. It looks pretty nice. Rodan himself does look neat, but I do have one major problem, and thankfully it's a design issue, not a quality control issue. The veins. I hate how thick they've been applied and how visible they are. What's supposed to look cool ended up looking really tacky. The subtlety that was on the original figure with the veins is just gone, and it doesn't look right here. But the rest of Rodan does look nice though. The blending on his stomach area is well done, and I love the shading effects on the wings. It looks nice, apart from one of the wing panels looking really red and inconsistent. The translucency shines on the back. All of his back spikes are translucent yellow, and it looks nice. Has a nice contrast from the back. Besides some inconsistencies and design issues, Rodan does look fine. Nothing spectacular, but nothing awful either. What's done right is done right, and again, I'm happy his flaws are design issues and not QC issues. Poor Rodan has not seen any updates for his articulation, nothing. So it's the same as it was on the original release, and that release is like almost 100 years old. So yeah, you could tell articulation is going to be limiting for today's MonsterArts standards. I've definitely been spoiled by Rodan 2019's articulation, I'm going to be honest. So let's go over it. Mouth is on a ball joint. Well, beak is on a ball joint, excuse me. And the jaw can open about this wide. We have a ball joint here in the head and here in the neck, so he can look all the way up, no problem, for flight poses. And he can look not quite all the way down, but it's decent. And of course he can wiggle around and look side to side. Wings on the base, they are on ball joints. So you can flap them forward. The wing panels are on hinges right here and here, so he can fold them pretty far. And of course, stretch them all the way out. Pretty cool, standard stuff. So yeah, that's fine. We have hinged hands, hinged claws, whatever. So that's fine. No articulation in the waist at all, so that's a little bit disappointing and limiting. Legs did not see any improvements as well, so you have to finagle with them in order to get them to look good when being posed. So he can kick forward just about this far, and he can kick backward not very far at all. Splits, no splits. Thighs can swivel just a little bit. Knees are on a single hinge, but either way he can bend his knees back a little bit less than 90 degrees, but for Rodan that's fine. Ankles are on swivel hinges or ball hinges, so he can kick them all the way back, kick them just a little bit forward, and ankle rocker is pretty good in case you need them in more dynamic poses. The tail does also have some articulation. He can bend it all the way straight, just like that. Yep, no problems here. Yep, Rodan's tail articulation is just fine. It's pretty good. So I would only improve the waist and the legs. That's my only complaints. So Rodan can be posed, you just need to do a lot of finagling with the leg areas, and he's mostly good for flight poses, not really for standing positions at all, so yeah, you do have to keep that in mind. And also balancing him can be an issue if you don't know what you are doing. Luckily I do. I've been doing toy photography for years now, so yeah, I pretty much know how to get him standing without the wings even being on the ground. Now, I would go over this in its own section, but I'm going to combine it here because, you know, I always do it when figures come a stance. Rodan does have his own support stand with the support cradle that he's had from the original Fire Rodan release. Be careful with the cradle. It's very possible for it to crack, as all Tamashii Stage products does. You can secure it with a glue if you need to. And Rodan goes on the cradle with no problem. It is an excellent cradle. He can... like, that's fine. That's fine. It looks pretty good. I could end it here, but Rodan actually comes with wing supports that he did not have on the original release, that they included now. What? He comes with two. They plug into the sides of the Tamashii Stage. And these only exist to support the wings. So that way they do not go limp over the years. You will probably own this, assuming you don't own the original release, which is still probably fine. At that point, his cradle is not even really supporting him at all. I don't understand the point of the wing supports. The original figure did not come with them, so... And as far as I could tell, you don't need them with this new release. Like, if the wings droop, they droop. That's unfortunately the nature of hinged wings, so there's no fixing that. So yeah, these are a little bit pointless, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I guess they had to include them just in case people complain about that, but still. It would have been fine with just the base and the flight stand. Like, these are fine. They don't harm the overall package. Like, if you want to use them, more power to you. And like, you definitely want to preserve your figures for a longer period of time, and I respect that. But for me, I don't know. The original was fine without these, so including these just seems a bit confusing, and I wish we got a reissued beam effect instead. So yeah, it's a little bit odd. Here's a size comparison with other figures you may or may not own. Rodan is the smallest, which is accurate to the source material. He's supposed to be small in the Heisei era of films. Mechagodzilla is tall, which is also a good thing. He's just a little taller than Godzilla. He would scale better with 94 than birth version Godzilla though. Either way, if you need both kaiju on the display, there should be no problem. So can I recommend this set? If you don't have any of these figures, absolutely I could recommend this set. And here's a suggestion. If you already have Mechagodzilla but really want Rodan, you have the option of displaying the other Mechagodzilla as Super Mechagodzilla, or you can just sell the extra off. But otherwise, if you have the original version of these figures, there's no reason to pick these up, unless you're a completionist. They don't really do anything to make themselves stand out among the original releases. Not unless you're a completionist again anyway. Truth be told, I do like this set. There's a lot of things I like and some things I don't like. The positives do outweigh the negatives though. Rodan may have issues, but that's only from design. Mechagodzilla is just fine. But I do wish more effects were included and they reissued the Garuda's beam effects. It sucks that the original Garuda ship is the only release to have the beams for said ship. Also, $230 is really steep. Get this for sale if possible. That's a lot of money even for this. It's a good set, just nothing to rush to get. Not for that price anyway. As a 2-pack, I'll give this a 7 out of 10. So much more could have been done to make this worth your time and money, but Bandai only made this because they knew collectors would want Rodan. Not a bad pack, but nothing amazing either.